Good evening and welcome to the 2024 State of Our School. I'm Diana Putzer, co-president of the VSSA for middle and upper school, and next to me is co-president for primary and lower school, Jen Halpern. We're both proud parents of lower and middle school Viewpoint students. We would like to take a moment to thank our wonderful head of school, Mark McKee, for asking us to open the program tonight and tell you a little bit about the VSSA, which stands for Viewpoint School Service Association, and is powered by parent volunteers. All year long, we work together with administrators to enrich student life, appreciate faculty and staff, and build community among our families. From homecoming to holiday luncheons and employee appreciation events, we support 150 non-academic activities on and off campus. All of you contribute to the VSSA through your annual dues, which are so very appreciated. But there are so many other ways to help by contributing your time. Being active in the VSSA is a wonderful way to meet new parents and make memories. Our success depends on our dedicated parent volunteers. Please feel free to reach out to either of us if you're interested in becoming more involved, or our vice presidents Maggie Leffler and Georgia Stern. And be sure to visit our microsite, viewpointvssa.com, for much more information. Now I have the pleasure of introducing a short video of Fall 2023 highlights of our Viewpoint. Thank you so much.
In the spirit of this year's theme, I challenge every student, faculty, and staff member at Viewpoint to embrace imagination in the classroom, on the playground, in the theaters, on the field, and in your mind.
Doesn't that make you want to go to school here? A huge shout out and a thank you, first of all, to our Marketing Communications Department, to Chrissy Salcido and AJ Hernandez and their team, who helped produce that little sizzle reel to introduce tonight. And an even greater thanks to the great human beings who were featured therein. And of course, that's a slice of our entire community. In the cover of his book, Care to Dare, Professor George Kohlreiser, who's been something of a mentor to me, includes an image of a belayer and a hiker or a climber. And the book Care to Dare introduces actually an idea that motivates some of my graduate school research, which is that idea that what leaders provide, and I would also say, glossing that, what schools provide, is both safety and challenge. That the climber, as they're going up the face of the rock, if they know that they're on belay, then they have that security that then allows them to have challenge and to reach the summit, which is what we want all of our students to do. It's why I'm motivated by that theory as I think about what leaders do, what teachers do, what parents do, and really ultimately what schools do. And I hope that that spirit informs tonight as well. You might say that's a spirit of a vision of a school where traditions connect us and innovation propels us, because that same dynamic of tradition and innovation, of security and challenge, also motivates tonight. It's great to see some familiar faces. If you've been here, either here in the room or on our live stream before for our State of the School, you know, this is a tradition we've been doing for many years now, for some 9 years, even during years when we were entirely shut down. We gather our community at this time of year to give a bit of a midterm report on our school, and then in addition to that, to take a look at what's ahead. And that's the part that's traditional. That innovation, tonight actually, I'll just give a spoiler and say that, you know, the best way to share the state of the school is through the voices of our students. And so we have some of that in store for you. So we're grateful that you've joined us. And I am grateful because I get both support and challenge from a remarkable board of trustees. Some are here tonight, who are very capably led by our board chair, Jill Schechter, who also has a welcome for you. Jill.
Thank you so much, Mark. Good evening, and thanks for joining us, whether you're here live or on the live stream. I'm Jill Schechter, Chair of the Board of Trustees and proud parent of 3 Viewpoint alumni. Some of my fellow trustees are joining me here tonight. I'd like to welcome and thank John Merriman and Lisa Austin for being with us. Each year at this time, as Mark said, we bring the community together to share the fall semester outcomes and to highlight our students' journeys at the halfway mark. And hopefully you're already feeling inspired and energized by that short video. In Mark's first message to the community last September, he asked, "What do you imagine for your children and your families this school year?" Every day, our faculty and staff see how your children unleash the power of their own imaginations in the classroom, on the fields, in the theaters, on the playgrounds, and all around campus. Looking ahead, we imagine an equally powerful second semester of the school year. As I said, I'm a parent of 3 recent alumni, so I've been in your shoes. And you're going to hear Mark talk a little bit later about the power of community. And I want to take a moment now to recognize the power of our extraordinary teachers, who are really the heartbeat of Viewpoint School. Each and every day, our students are given exceptional learning experiences. Our teachers not only impart knowledge and a sense of discovery, they demonstrate their love and commitment to your children's well-being. That's why it's so important that Viewpoint continues to attract, retain, and develop teachers of the very highest caliber. Teachers who nurture our children to be the next generation of great thinkers, innovators, and leaders. I hope you'll join me in a round of applause for those teachers. Thank you, so well deserved. And on behalf of the entire Board of Trustees, I want to extend my deep gratitude and thank you for choosing Viewpoint. We truly value the trust you place in us for your children's education. Please enjoy the rest of the program. Thank you.
Jill, thank you. And thank you to each and every member of our board for your service. I should have actually also acknowledged and thanked our VSSA. Thank you, Diana and Jen. And thank you in advance, George and Maggie. Thank you so much to you and the legion of volunteers that you lead with the VSSA, because really we are one community, is very much a theme of tonight. In fact, as I was thinking about tonight, it was really about, as I'm, frankly, often saying to our students in one way or another, that being in a school where we're all so fortunate to get an education, such as the one we provide at Viewpoint, is to have a purpose beyond ourselves. And so what it means to be at this school is really a theme that suffuses our program tonight. You know, there's a great deal of, I'll just say, uncertainty in the world. That's not a surprise. Whether we're talking about abroad or talking about at home, there is a lot to give us cause for worry and uncertainty. And in fact, we might look to a school to provide absolute certainty. And I'll tell you, while no school can provide absolute certainty, that would be an unreasonable promise. When we really focus on our World Ready promise, our promise of exceptional readiness for extraordinary futures, what we do promise is a commitment to our core values, our values of love and honor, of excellence, imagination, and optimism, and of ensuring that whatever the circumstances may be, we can carry those throughout in our program. So I hope that's what you're seeing up there on the screen. Actually, what you're seeing is our agenda. And you know, I like to say that the mission of the school, the values of the school are written in everything we do. And in fact, what you're seeing is what we have in store for you tonight, that we will talk a little bit about the fall, a look over our shoulder as to where we've been. We will also think about where we're going, and particularly where our students are going. So we do have three young people here from the class of 2024. And I'll tell you, their 3 stories stand in for 110 stories that stand in for 1,200 stories that stand in for thousands. And so that will be the center of our program, and then we will share some information before we close about the financial health of the school, survey results from our parent survey in December that we do annually, and be able to take your questions if time permits. So we thank you, because what you really do see here are the core values and commitments of the school enacted. And our hope is that a program such as tonight's does give our community confidence that you know where we're headed. My favorite thing about the logo of our school is that triangle in the upper right, and it reminds me of a wayfinder. You know, you hope that school, you know, the center of the logo is a viewfinder, but that little triangle in the upper right is a wayfinder, and just the way that we hope our education provides a wayfinder for our students. So here to tell us a little bit about what's been up this fall, we've invited our Associate Head of School, Mr. Bob Bryan, who so capably leads our division heads, our faculty in the academic and co-curricular programs of our school. Bob, it's an honor to work with you. Thanks for being here tonight.
Thank you. Oops. Thank you, Mark. There are certainly far too many noteworthy events from the first half of the school year, so I can only highlight a few here. Before I do, I want to shout out our operations teams for their tireless work supporting the many activities that populate the school year. We certainly couldn't do it without you. It works. Good. The school year began with our annual all-school convocation, bringing the students, teachers, and staff from across all 4 of our divisions together in the Paul Family Athletic Center. It is always a very special event that includes student speakers from each division and highlights one of our 5 core values, as Mark already mentioned: love, honor, excellence, imagination, and optimism. This year's theme has been imagination, and we've had many opportunities to consider how important imagination is to our lives and to our learning. Our Viewpoint community, Our Viewpoint community enjoyed a larger than ever homecoming celebration that included food, service, the arts, our alumni, the homecoming court, and of course, a victorious football game. That was fun. Lots of candy, I think, also, if memory serves. Wait a second. Oh, there it is. The end of October brought our annual Great Pumpkin Day festivities for primary and lower schools. It is always such a treat to see the students' costumes as well as their unbridled joy. It's also a chance for some of the adults to join in the fun, though we clearly don't bring as much creativity and charm to our costumes as our students do. Anticipating the holiday season, primary and lower schools presented an exceptional holiday program, reflecting our commitment to unity in diversity, and also our vision that tradition connects us and innovation propels us. The students' beautiful songs and meaningful, often humorous stories reflected a variety of family traditions, and it was truly a special morning in the Thousand Oaks Kavli Theater. There were many noteworthy athletic achievements as well this fall. For the second straight year, our varsity boys cross-country team were Gold Coast champions, and both our girls and boys varsity teams competed in CIF state championships. In middle school, our 4th through 6th grade swim team won the San Fernando Private School League Championship. In the arts, I'd like to recognize Julian Dans on receiving the 2024 National Young Arts Award given to the most accomplished young visual, literary, and performing artists from across the country. Julian was one of 700 students chosen from over 9,000 applications. Our student filmmakers brought home Best Film and Best Ensemble at the Calabasas Film Festival, and senior Sundiata Enuke's film Jackie was named Best U.S. High School Film at the 2023 Burbank International Film Festival. The festival awarded winners from 28 categories and genres. Sundiata stood out among just 6 high school finalists, making this a remarkable achievement. Viewpoint's performing arts programs are always exemplary. This fall brought us vivid and memorable theater productions, SpongeBob SquarePants in middle school, The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime in upper school, as well as compelling concerts in strings, band, and choir. As you can see, it's been a very busy fall, with many more outstanding results on the horizon in the second semester. Mark?
Bob, thank you, and by extension, thanks to every teacher and coach who helped give us a remarkable fall. Life moves fast in a school. What are we, 3 weeks into the second semester now? And it's nice to actually look back over your shoulder from time to time and see whence you've come, and in order to take stock and see that. So thank you for that. Traditionally, Patricia Jackson, our Director of Diversity, Inclusion, and Community Life, would be here to say a word or two about our Office of Diversity, Inclusion, and Community Life and what the office has been up to throughout our community, K through 12, TK through 12, working with affinity groups, working with now student diversity councils, parent diversity councils, faculty diversity councils, and with really every member of our community. The second line on our vision statement is a vision of a community where families value unity in diversity. And this office is really finding ways to enact that vision statement of unity in diversity. I don't know that I've seen times more divided than these, and yet our Viewpoint community comes together as one unified group. That's our team of diversity coordinators in each of our divisions and our director, and a huge thanks to them and to everyone who works with them to make that so. Once again this year, we took delegations to the National Association of Independent Schools People of Color Conference and Student Diversity Leadership Conference. That is a way of connecting our school with a network of schools across the country. And when we participate there, you notice that we're not only bringing information and resources and connections back to Viewpoint, we're also taking a role of leadership in our broader industry. You might hear more about that perhaps from some of our students. And then if we could share one example with you, it happens to be of a very recent program, because we, just like our English teachers, want to show, not tell. And so what I want to show you is actually a clip that managed to make the Channel 7 news of our recent Healing Through Music program. This was our school's way this year of honoring the birthday of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And we did so by thinking about the way that music has a power to bring communities together and to heal us as a community. And we brought together really everybody, as you'll see, starting with the showstopper of bringing back two young alumni from the class of 2004 and the class of 2017. They had never performed together, but after a couple of rehearsals, they really brought down the house. And then we also had a drum circle, our first ever multicultural drum circle, and we closed the program with a mass choir made up of both our middle school and upper school concert choirs, joined by adults from all across our community, including a parent choir that had served as backup singers for our alums. So if you weren't here, you missed something very, very special. We've already had requests to repeat the program, and we want to show you this.
In Calabasas, the Viewpoint School is putting on its first ever Healing Through Music production. The show is part of a tribute to the work and legacy of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King and a celebration of different cultures in song. There are 4 performances throughout the day, the final one starting at 6 to 9.
Isn't that great? I think a shout out to everybody who had a hand in that. Jill acknowledged our faculty that would only have been made possible, particularly Ms. Jackson would want me to mention that she collaborated specifically with Mr. Brendel, with Mr. Feldscher, with Ms. Deitch in making that happen, and again, with literally hundreds of students and faculty. So next I want to say a little bit about what World Ready looks like from the lens of our college counseling office. This is a mid-year report. A final report on our class of 2024 has to wait every year, really for the end of May, June. But we like to give you a real-time snapshot of what this world looks like. My headline, and we'll get it in just a moment, is that this world is changing faster than almost any other in our school. And yet, thanks to the preparation of our college counselors and the research and industry and independence of our students, they're really on point. As you can see, our 110 seniors have applied to over 237 colleges, maybe and counting since the stat from a few days ago. Rhodey's nodding, and have filed some 1,551 applications. So that's an average of 14 applications per student, which, by the way, that 14 is a recognition of good college counseling because it's not a 20 on average. But if you applied to college in the U.S. back in the day, I applied to 5. You're thinking about how many you might have applied to if you applied to college in the U.S. The average Viewpoint student is applying to 14 schools. Nothing wrong if they applied to 1 or some number higher than 14, but those are the numbers. And you can see that our program has a philosophy of good news early. So you can see, again, this world has changed dramatically. It's been true for some time that we counsel students to get good news early, which is why I can tell you in January that some 97% of our seniors have completed 1 or more early applications. And of these, you can see some 84% are already admitted to at least 1 college. In other words, there have been over 200 early admits to college. And so that's been really extraordinary. A shout out to our class of 2024. Their greatness is being recognized by college admission officers. You can also see of those 633 then applications filed, you can see the support that they get. Obviously, 110 counselor letters, 1 for each senior, and 253 teacher letters. It is an incredible amount of work on the part of our faculty and staff to support students as they make it their way through the college counseling process. And again, very proud of their results. I mentioned that this world is changing, and I think I might have said this 5 years ago and thought about one change. Or I remember when, something like the Varsity Blues scandal was the big news of the year. When we said, what's the big news of the college counseling year this year, it's not one thing or 2 things. There's a half a dozen headlines, and that's really just scratching the surface of what is, dynamic in the world of college counseling. So you can see everything here from the U.S. Supreme Court weighing in on college admissions to the role of AI, to what's happening with standardized testing. I share this with you. These are all the resources that not only are we following, in my office and Bob's office, but the resources that our college counseling office is following so that they can be sure that they are keeping up with what's happening. They also happen to be well networked and connected, both within the world of independent school college counselors and with their counterparts on the other side of the aisle. The result has been that our students, we mentioned, have more than 200 acceptances to date, and obviously this is early news. Again, students just filed January applications a couple of weeks ago and are yet to hear back from those until the spring. But as of now, students have gained acceptance at this range of schools. This is the visual because we didn't think you could actually read that. The list is too long, however, and you can see we have organized this list geographically just to show you visually the geographic spread of the colleges students are interested in. One of the statistics that we look at every year at the end of the process, when we know where students are enrolling, is the great breadth and diversity of colleges where students are enrolling, and we're really proud of that number when we see that 110 students might be going to 70 or 80 or more different colleges, which is a sign that the last line of our mission statement is that we deliver that exceptional future readiness for each individual viewpoint student. That philosophy of each individual viewpoint student is also true in our college counseling office. As you'll find out, as I invite 3 students up to say a few words, each of them. So I have 3 questions for each student. Yes, I told them the questions in advance, but no, we did not script them one bit. And I'm so honored and delighted to welcome 3 seniors. Bob Bryan and I have lunch with members of the senior class throughout the fall and into the spring. And every single conversation we have with seniors is inspiring and we learn something. And so we hope that you will too. I'm going to start by bringing up George Alcantar Jr. George. So George, before I ask you the first question, would you just briefly introduce yourself?
Hi, yeah, I'm George Alcantar Jr. I'm a senior, as you can tell, and I will be attending Pepperdine for college, on a 4-year full tuition scholarship. So yeah. Thank you.
Now that you have our attention. The first question is, tell us about your Viewpoint journey. What has defined your experience?
So for me, Viewpoint has really given me the opportunity to follow a very structured and organized path ever since I came into Viewpoint as a freshman. And they have really brought me many different opportunities, such as clubs, conferences that I've been a part of, and just teachers and counselors who have guided me along the way. And I could list a couple clubs that I'm a part of because I'm really passionate about them. LASA, the Latin American Student Association, where I'm an executive board member. The Sports Analytics Club, where I'm a vice president, and the Finance Investment Club, where I'm also a vice president. And I'm really passionate about those. Another one would be, for this help on my journey, would definitely be my teachers, counselors, for example, Miss Davis, who's there in the audience. Lots of help for the college process. But also teachers in general who really keep you structured. If you have any questions, they're there for you no matter what the situation is. If you really need an extra bump to keep you motivated, they're always there no matter what. So that's always an outlet that you're able to use that has really kept me motivated throughout the way in my Viewpoint journey throughout the years. But that's a big one.
George, your second question, you've told us about your journey to this point. What about your journey from here? What are your future plans?
Well, as you guys know, I will be attending Pepperdine. And I'm actually really excited for that. Amazing campus, beautiful view. I'll be going to the beach a lot. I just gotta keep focus. I'm going in as business administration. That will be my major that I will be continuing, and I just plan on being a part of as many opportunities as I'm able to, having those resources at Pepperdine, that really opens up the world to so many different lenses that we don't even know about at this moment. And I wish to be able to be opened up to them at Pepperdine. And that's really what I'm looking forward to. But, I got to make the best of my senior year here at Viewpoint. I'm going to miss it, but those are my plans, just keep going, keep pushing and get through the year and then prepare for college.
Up on the slide, it mentions the Posse Foundation, and you mentioned you're attending Pepperdine on a 4-year scholarship. Can you say a word about Posse?
Yeah, so Posse is an amazing program. I got nominated to be a part of Posse by Mr. Monroy, a previous college counselor. And so it's pretty much a 4-year full tuition scholarship, and It was a pretty lengthy process. There was 3 rounds of interviews, and you kept going. They would ask you multiple questions, and then I kept getting that news where I got into the next round interview, and I was like, oh my goodness, like, is this really happening? I kept getting the news, and it was just I was super on my toes the whole entire time because this is super important to me. Financially, it's obviously, Pepperdine, Posse. College is very expensive on its own, and Posse really gave me that extra opportunity to be a part of it. Only 10 students get it for Pepperdine, and at the start I think there was over 2,000 nominations for the Posse scholarship. So of those, 10 students got it for Pepperdine specifically. So that's a big one. But yeah.
I think there's some kindergarten parents out there that are probably taking notes. The third question for you, how would you describe the state of our school?
Well, I would say there is a consistent mindset that keeps the students motivated, structured, and organized. Yeah, that's one thing that's been coming up consistently throughout freshman year, sophomore year, junior year, and senior year. There's just, if you need motivation for schoolwork, it's there. For clubs, anything, extracurriculars, Viewpoint is always working to keep you motivated, to keep you structured, to keep you organized, no matter the situation, whether it be a sport, whatever. We are always getting pushed to that next level. You're supported through teachers, counselors, like I said, and there's always that mindset to keep doing better, keep going, no matter what the situation is. And I think Viewpoint does a great job doing that. And I'm not just saying that just to say that it's true, because I experienced it firsthand. That first year coming into Zoom, that was a big part of our our freshman year. And then, that's kind of in the rearview mirror now. But in that situation, we were like, is there still hope, this and that? But, they really pushed us through the way, and they're very consistent in many different aspects of Viewpoint, whether it be anything you want to be a part of. If you have any interest in any club that you want to create or any conference that you might want to attend, there's always that, can I be a part of it? Can I make this club? Can I join whatever other extracurricular, extra sport? It's always yes. You speak with someone, they get you where you want to be, whether you're passionate about something that hasn't been created yet. You get with a teacher, you can create that club that you want. There's always room for growth, and whatever you're interested in, they'll be there for you no matter what. They'll support you. They're the true backbone of, our future, who we become in the future. We learn so much from Viewpoint. It just helps us so much, and it has really molded me as a person to become, what I've learned to push me to college. This is what molded me education, like everything. Viewpoint has really stepped up for me and been there for me no matter what. Yeah.
Wow, George, thank you. I think I heard you say you're going to study business.
Thank you. Yeah.
I think I heard George say he's going to study business, and I'm thinking that he's making business contacts already. Our second senior in this mini panel is the president of our student body, Jessica Chow. Jessica.
Hi everyone, I'm Jessica. I'll wait for you.
Oh yeah, would you introduce yourself, and then I'll ask you the questions.
Yeah, I'll do a quick elevator pitch. So as Mr. McKee was saying, I'm the upper school president. Last year I was vice president, so I had to do my campaigning last year, and it was successful, so I'm thankful for that. I'll be talking about my college decisions so far. I haven't committed anywhere yet, but I'm hearing back from schools, and I'm having interviews now for my regular rounds, but I'll be answering some questions for Mr. McKee today.
So yeah, the first question. What has your Viewpoint journey been? What has defined your experience?
Yeah, so like George, I also started here in my freshman year on Zoom, and I think the biggest thing that Viewpoint has definitely helped me with is confronting this fear that I had of change and evolution in my passions. So when I came to Viewpoint, I was a student athlete with volleyball and basketball, but I had met our theater director, Mr. Felcher, and he talked to me about performing arts, and that's when I became involved in auditioning for our plays and our musicals. Eventually, this turned into becoming one of our Model UN board executives and speech and debate captains. And now with Student Council, I'm the president, so I'm hoping to keep learning and exploring my passions for global affairs. And it's interesting to think I started as a student athlete, because now my PE credit is scoring basketball games. but it's okay. I'm not doing those sports anymore, but it's okay. And I think that because I've changed so much since I came here in 9th grade, something that's defined my experience is just the resources and opportunities that Viewpoint gives students. I think a piece of evidence I can use to justify this is an internship that I had at the Ronald Reagan Library. And this internship was offered from a Viewpoint parent, and it was facilitated by the College Counseling Office. Shout out to Miss Davis in the audience. We have our Junior Summer Experience program. It offers internships and summer opportunities to juniors over the summer. And I was able to intern there. I made a business plan for their Student Advisory Council for civic engagement for youth communities, and it turned into this official job offer that I've been working there since November. And this was all possible because of Viewpoint and Miss Davis and one of the Viewpoint parents. And so I think something that's defined this is just the endless resources that I have here, and that it's okay to change your passions and explore in different directions.
Wow.
I know that was a lot of information.
I would hire you too. What is your journey from here, and what are your future plans?
So I would say my journey is carrying out all the extracurriculars I just dumped on you guys. I actually joined the robotics team last year. I know there's so many things, but I joined the robotics team, but it wasn't to build the robot. It was more of the business side and the STEM outreach side. So I wasn't hands-on with the nuts and bolts, but it was more of talking with our sponsors and doing outreach in different middle school communities. So I'm hoping to carry out my passions for STEM and humanities in the colleges that I'm applying to. So I've been accepted to Georgetown as, it's a long major name, but it's Science, Technology, and International Affairs with multiple commas in it. But at Georgetown, I applied for this joint major of STEM, technology, and global affairs to kind of combine my interests. I'm still hearing back from a couple of schools, but my main passion, this either lies in tech management, maybe STEM policy. Things are pretty ambiguous now, and I'm only 18 years old, so what I'm saying could totally change. But that's the main idea. And with my major at Georgetown that I've been accepted to so far, it's going pretty smoothly. At Santa Clara, I'm a business administration major, but hopefully I'll hear back from more schools, and I'm applying as science, technology, and society at those.
And we wish you luck.
Thank you.
The third question, how would you describe the state of our school?
Big question. I would define the state of our school as the consistent support and the resources from faculty and teachers that have always been here for me since day one. And I think another piece of evidence I can use to justify this, last June, I actually had a lot of conversations with Mr. Bryan because I had found a STEM conference in DC for STEM advocacy. So it was here where I was able to go on a fully funded trip by Viewpoint after I wrote a funding proposal. Hopefully that wasn't too long to read through, but it was a funding proposal to attend this conference in DC, and I talked to California congressmen and women, our senator representatives, about increasing appropriations for after-school STEM programs. And because I had attended that conference in July, I brought it back with one of my Viewpoint friends to plan a statewide conference for California. We had like 40 plus robotics teams join. And the state of our school, I think, is defined by my experiences with these resources. The trip I went on was fully funded by Viewpoint, and we had one of my robotics mentors come with us to DC in person. And bringing all these opportunities back was definitely something that I wasn't surprised about because I knew that Viewpoint was going to be with me every single step of the way. And if I had any requests or I wanted to talk to a mentor to ask for help, I knew a teacher, faculty member, staff member would always be there. And I think the conference and everything that I just talked about just goes to show how important that support is at Viewpoint. Even if it's students supporting the teachers, if we find a new way to explain a concept, or the teachers supporting the students with talking during office hours, after school. I know I've stayed at Viewpoint until 6 p.m. one day talking with one of my physics teachers and robotics mentors. And I think the state of our school just goes to show that we're going strong. We have the financial support, we have the support of talking with students, and just the community here that I know was seen in that sizzle reel, and also in all of our student experiences here. So state of our school is doing pretty good, I think. Yeah.
Thank you, President Chow.
Thank you.
Jessica, thank you. I think you just got hired and got our votes. And so our third student to round out our panel is Austin Bash. Austin. Austin, would you introduce yourself?
Hello. There you go. Hello, my name's Austin Bash. I'm a senior here at Viewpoint. I'm on the baseball team, and I also played football this semester as well. I'll just be telling you about my experience and journey through Viewpoint today. It's hard to follow those two experiences. Those are very well spoken.
Where are you in the batting order?
I bat cleanup. I bat
Oh,
fourth.
swell.
So yeah, fourth and play center field.
So what has been your Viewpoint journey to date?
So I'd say what my Viewpoint journey has been and what has really kind of defined me is that when I came to Viewpoint, I would say I don't want to say I didn't know how to work hard, but I didn't really have a lot of self-motivation and really understand how to grind through, like, whether it's academics or baseball or just work hard. I didn't really understand that fully, and now I would say I have a much better sense of that, and I could just work harder towards what I want to achieve. So when I came here, I would say I was kind of lost a little bit. It was an environment that really was different from my public school I used to go to, and it really influenced success. And it was a lot more difficult. And once I got adjusted to that, I found that was probably one of the best things that could happen to me. It really taught me how to, again, work hard, and not only in the classroom, but on the baseball field as well. So from an athletic standpoint, as I'm playing baseball in college, from an athletic standpoint, I remember coming into freshman year, practice was very rigorous. It was about 6 days of baseball a week, 3 hours a day, and that was just the minimum with the team. 2 to 3 hours a day, and that was just minimum with the team. And then plus what I wanted to do, I found I really wanted to play college baseball, but I didn't really know how to get there. And I'd say through the support of my teachers and coaches, and not even that, the trainers and Travis, I can't pronounce his last name, I'm sorry. Travis, who's the director of College Bound Athletes, I really worked hard with them to get to where I am now. I remember over this summer, I'd spent a lot of time in the weight room because I had those amenities available to me, and I'd spend time talking with Miguel, who's one of our trainers here, going over my throwing mechanics, what would cause pain in my shoulder, exercises to strengthen my shoulder, and then I'd go talk to Travis. I think that was last year, second semester of my junior year, drafting emails to write to colleges, to send to all the schools I was interested in looking to go visit or get recruited from, and I would say it really brought a different side of me out. I don't know if I'd be the same person. I wouldn't be the same person today if I didn't go to Viewpoint, honestly. So, yeah.
Wow, that's exceptional. And thank you for the shout out to Travis Kikugawa, our
there we go.
assistant director, one of our assistant directors of athletics. He is also in charge of our tennis and soccer programs, and is, as you said, our director of college counseling for College Bound Athletes.
Thank you.
Or something like it's the longest title in the school.
It was a long title.
Yeah,
it was a long title. Just director of College Bound Athletes.
What's your journey from here? What are your future plans?
So my journey from here is I'm going to be continuing baseball at NYU, and then also be continuing studying business there at their Stern School of Business, hopefully, and I'm kind of going to go down the path from there. I think the big thing I'm looking forward to in college is networking and creating a lot of connections, which I could hopefully utilize in my future life. Whether that's continuing baseball or doing maybe a grad transfer my fifth year, or going down the business route of things and looking at possible internships or studying abroad and all that. So yeah, that's my future plans for now. I don't really know too much exactly. I'm kind of going with the flow right now. But the main thing I do want to do is just keep pursuing my passions and keep working hard at what I want to work hard at, and not backing down. So yeah.
And the third question, how would you describe the state of our school?
I would describe the state of our school right now as, I guess, as cliche as this might sound, I would say it's very positive. I'd say the vibes around campus are very positive. I would say students I don't want to say look forward to going here every day to school, but they like, but they enjoy being at school. They enjoy coming to school and talking with their teachers and socializing with their peers. And not only this, I would say that the environment here is I spoke the wrong word there. I'd say the environment here is competitive, yet it's also very supportive. So I think with that, it really endorses kind of this mindset towards success, and I'd say it endorses success, and that's what I've seen among my classmates and friends. I find it almost hard to, I don't want to say hard to not succeed, but it's difficult to fail, because if you're struggling, whether it be like in a sports game or on the athletics side of things, my coach will always be there to support me, or whether it's in the classroom, my teachers will always be there. I remember last year, second semester, junior year, I was really struggling writing this self-reflective essay in English. And I remember going to Dr. Vinola, who's my English teacher at the time, after school. And I must have spent an hour and a half alone with him after school on a Friday, just working on this essay. And he just stayed there the whole time. And I'm after him, after working with him, like, I'm so sorry for keeping you long. He literally said, it was no problem at all. I love doing this. I care about my students, and I want to help you write the best essay. So that was one of the best things. Yeah, just very supportive. And even now, I went through like a bit of like a little stressful time in the beginning of beginning of my first semester. And I would go talk to my college counselor, Mr. Pulliam, all the time. And it's just very casual to go talk to faculty and go talk to teachers, and everyone's very supportive. Like today I had lunch with Mr. Pulliam for about like 30, 40 minutes, just kind of talking about life and updates. And it was just something I really like doing and look forward to. So yeah, thank you.
Wow. That's outstanding. Austin, thank you. Thank you. Austin, you did just fine batting cleanup here. You did just fine. Another hand for our seniors from the class of 2024. I really don't need to emphasize just how they have said more to you about the state of our school than I could have said in many more words. So thank you for being here so very much. And you also see a couple of things that were threads as I was listening to them. One is that every kindergarten parent here sees from the beginning of the first assemblies how we actually have a culture of leadership and public speaking that is developed in students from the very, very start. And so you see that whether students start here in TK or join us anywhere along the way, that culture of public speaking, of leadership, of self-knowledge that turns into impact in the world is just evident in our seniors' stories. And then the threads of these programs, as I was coming in here, I saw a note that the middle school had sent out, Jessica, to our middle school about a middle school Model UN. And so, just you can see the breadth of opportunities just evident and the changes that it's made in our students, and then you think about the changes that they're going to make in the world when they go out from here. And by the way, literally, we could have had 110 seniors do that very same thing, although we're very proud the three of you were here tonight. Thank you for joining us. And now I'm going to invite up our Chief Financial and Operating Officer, Mr. Steve Cole, to say a word or two about the financial health of our school, especially since these students are majoring in business and getting scholarships. And
they don't get to ask questions. So I'm Steve Cole. I have the pleasure of sort of overseeing the school's business affairs and the teams that keep our beautiful campus in good working order. But I just got two things to talk to you about the financial state of the school. Easy message. We're doing really well financially. 5 things that make me say that. The money's coming in as we anticipated. The money's going out in a very controlled way. We are continuing to be very prudent about how we manage the school's finances. 4, the key indicators I pay attention to, many of which we're talking about tonight, are all great, right? Where our enrollment is strong, our programming is strong, we're in a really good place in how well the school is attracting people, how well we are serving our students. Our parent support is outstanding, people are engaged, and our employee community, our faculty and staff, are also really engaged and committed and enthusiastic. Those all point to continued success. The school is thriving, and when a school is thriving, generally speaking, the financial part of the school is also doing really well, and that's what's true for us. The fifth thing, and it's sort of a rumor, that inflation is tapering off. I don't know that we're seeing it all that much at the school. Maybe you're not either. It's the one thing I'm paying a special attention to because our costs keep going up, just like everybody's. One of the ways we practice being prudent is to have a balanced budget. And we're like at almost $60 million of funds coming in and funds going out this year. And thank you for making that possible. Not only the blue bar at the top, which is tuition payments, which is where most of our funds come from, but I also want to thank you for the orange part of the bar. An essential part that you play in helping our budget be balanced is in the annual gifts that you give. So about 85% of the cost of educating our kids is from tuition. The rest, a chunk of the rest, comes from those gifts. So I just want to seize the moment to say thank you to our community that is so supportive in that way. And that's the financial picture. We're in great shape, so thank you. And now we're back to Mark.
So thank you very much. To a few final topics and just some factual information to back up the financial parts of the report. The first has to do with our annual Pulse survey. And in order to generate such a great response rate, we were delighted that over 500 families responded to our 2-minute survey. And we asked this question, and if you're familiar with this formulation, it's the Net Promoter Score. And it asks that 0 to 10 question of how likely are you to recommend Viewpoint School to a friend or a colleague. And then it asks a second question, which is basically, why did you give us the score that you gave us? And I'll tell you, we read and log and attend to each and every single response. This was what you said to us on the quantitative, which was remarkable. Now, in the 0 to 10 Net Promoter Score methodology, 9s and 10s are what are called promoters. And it's called the Net Promoter Score because they net out anyone who was 0 through 6, who are called the detractors. Believe it or not, 6 out of 10 is a detractor. 7s and 8s are passives, and they don't count in the formula. So when you see that NPS score of 57 over there, that's because some 70% of you gave us a 9 or a 10. Thank you. We love the good feedback. We love all the feedback. Some 10% of you scored us 0 to 6. You can see more 5s and 6s than 0s and 1s. Nice to see that. But believe me when I say we pay attention to each and every voice and each and every survey response. So that 70% 9s and 10s minus that 10% 0s to 6s, more or less, is that 57. And you might wonder, like, why do we do this? We do this to make sure that we really are hearing everything. A couple of follow-up points. One is we do track this over time, and this is very consistent with the last couple of years of results. We're able to disaggregate according to how long someone's been at the school, what kind of experiences are the new families having. We ask you that question as well. We ask if you want a call back. One of the things we've added that this year, because one of the things, if someone, gives us a lower score and says, this is really frustrating to me, obviously it's an anonymous survey. We hope that someone will call us. But one way we say, well, okay, well, if you want us to call you, give us your name and your phone number and we'll give you a call back. Obviously making it not an anonymous response. And, those who I think filled out the survey before the break have heard back, and those who have, maybe if you filled out the survey since break, you might not have heard back yet, but our Director of Parent Relations, Aria Sensor, is making sure that you connect with the right person here. But we're really delighted. Why that Net Promoter Score actually is higher than Amazon, higher than Netflix. It is a great score, to be honest, and it gives us confidence that we continue to be delivering value to families. And yet we also know we have an ethic, as you know, of continual improvement, which is why we ask you what else you might tell us. Basically, a good score, according to the Bain company that developed this, is between 0 and 30. And so, because by the way, the lowest score would be minus 100. The top score would be plus 100. And while, we aspire, we're not resting on a 60, 57, but I'll tell you, we are delighted to have a score that basically, Bain would say tells us that our families love us. What did you say about us? Well, on the positive side, so many different things were called out. And in fact, this is the word cloud of what do we do well. And in fact, it's quite exceptional to me how many different aspects of our school community are mentioned here. And I think, things that we heard from our students tonight, things that you've heard from my colleagues. In fact, here's the summary. So many things mentioned: a positive learning environment, academic excellence, preparation for the future, diverse opportunities that we've heard about tonight, engaging the community, caring for the individual. And you see these threads: academics, community, communication, diversity, and balance. So this tells us that essentially, just like you want to know that the school gets your kid, we want to know that you get us. So it's very affirming to see that, yeah, you get us. As I mentioned, you also give us constructive feedback and, what could we do better in? And one of the interesting things here was there was less of a convergence on any one thing. Instead, there was quite a range of those voices, particularly in the 0 to 6 end, touched on a number of things. I'll tell you, we pay attention to each and every one of them. Students, faculty, academics, communication, sports, tuition and fees, diversity and inclusion. And again, we thank you for your feedback. One of the other headlines we might share has to do with our admissions department. We continue to see record demand this year, really across all of our grade levels, double-digit increase in TK and kindergarten. And the real headline is, since over the last 4 cycles, we've had a 48% increase in demand for our school, which is really just exceptional. It's going to make the Office of Admissions work very, very difficult as they work with our admission committees, and their work has been very difficult. I know that they are closing in on the last parent interviews. One of the hallmarks of having a mission where we reach each individual viewpoint student is that our Office of Admission, and I see Laurel Baker too back there, interviews and takes care of each individual family as well. A thank you from our advancement department, from our assistant head of school for external affairs, Maureen Nash, and her team, and from me and our board from the bottom of our hearts, because so far to date, we have raised $2 million towards our $4 million annual goal between the benefit and the Viewpoint Fund. You see this year's results tracking ahead of last year's results, and last year was a record year for any recent year since we've been in a campaign, and we haven't been in a campaign for some 9 years. And so that was last year was a record. And an extraordinary record, and we are tracking ahead of last year. So thank you very much for your gifts and for your understanding. I was expecting our CFO to say that annual giving is the tax-deductible portion of your support for the school. And the other continual improvement to which we aspire, our strategic plan puts among our many goals people first. And so for several years now, we've been saying, our strategic goals are to put our people first. When Jill Schechter tells you that our goal is to recruit, retain, and develop the very best faculty, staff, and leadership at our school, we really mean that. And what we found out in the summer, and we're delighted, was that for the second year running, we were one of the 100 best places to work in Southern California. Not just Los Angeles, LA, Orange County, San Diego, one of the 100 best places to work. This year, in fact, we were in the top 10 large employers. So Viewpoint is in the large employer category. And as it says here, we were the only school of any kind, and not just only an independent school, only school of any kind on that list. So thank you to our talented team. This came from them. Yeah, a hand for that, for our talented team. And you might wonder about that. That reflects two things. It reflects our filling out a survey that says, what do we do for our team by way of compensation and benefits and just taking care of our team. And it, just as importantly, more importantly, reflects their filling out an anonymous survey. And believe me, when we first started doing this, we thought, oh, we would aspire to be on that list one day. And so now we aspire to get higher in that list each and every year. But it means the world to us to know that, as you well know, that it is an increasingly challenging world out there for recruiting talented folks, and that talent is the difference maker. And so we thank you for your support of our school that enables us to be a best place to work in Southern California. Some highlights and coming soon. We are immediately in front of us is International Holocaust Remembrance Day. Dr. Erica Miller comes back to Viewpoint. She came a couple of years ago and just charmed and inspired us with her story. And that was with a fairly small crowd in the Ben Franklin Library. I suspect actually we'll have a much larger crowd this time around as we bring Dr. Miller back. She is a Holocaust survivor and, believe me, is incredibly, incredibly inspiring. Her story is one that everyone should hear. Our Maker Fest is there, you see, in the first full week of February. In our, it's supported by our innovation space in our Ben Franklin Library, and you can see that that's a place for everyone in primary and lower school to engage. One of the things that we do during this time of the year is we have our prospective families in. Those of you who came in the early grades will remember. We have our prospective families in while their children are having a play date. And the parents have to be kept busy some way or another. And I'll tell you, one of the things we do is we take them into the maker space and the innovation space. And the upper school students who come down and volunteer for the Maker Fest, they do that on purpose every single year because they get such joy out of working with our students and working with all of you. So we look forward to seeing you there. Voices Now. One of our incredible upper school performing groups is actually performing at the Catalina Jazz Club, February 20th. This is a great late Valentine's Day opportunity for you. It is, the tickets will sell out. They're $30 per person, and 100% of the ticket proceeds go to the arts at Viewpoint. The doors open at 6. Check our website for more information, but it's terrific to hear our students in Voices Now. You heard them in the sizzle reel, actually. And then, of course, our Viewpoint Benefit, our signature event. We're back again at the Skirball Cultural Center on May 11th, 2024. Watch for the invites and the theme. It is going to be very, very special, the purpose for which we're raising funds this year. And we thank you also for your support, because your support really helps us to thrive and to grow as a school. So that is the state of our school at 63 years and counting. Viewpoint was created by parents who wanted the best for their children. And it started because their little elementary school was closing, the Doris Greco School. And they wanted the very best for their school, for their children. And so they said, well, let's start a new school and let's call it Viewpoint, because we think that children should have a point of view. They actually meant we think children should have their point of view. That's where the name came from. But they started this little school called Viewpoint. Within a couple of years, they had found this home in Calabasas. Before this was a city. It was pretty much tumbleweeds. I think, was the Sagebrush Cantina even there? Who knows? There's nothing but coyotes and tumbleweeds, and they founded Viewpoint School here. And our school, over 20 years, became a K-12 school. Over another 20 years, became a school of some 1,200 students. And I think as you look at our school, the core values have been there from the beginning: love and honor and excellence and imagination and optimism. I hope that listening to the voices of our students and my colleagues, you also recognize our excellence have some optimism and join us in celebrating the school's theme of imagination this year. Thank you for joining us. Are there any questions? There you go. There's a hand up.
If anyone has any questions, I can bring the mic over to you. Wow, we did that good of a job. Oh, we have a question. Here.
Mark for 10 years. He's been here now 10 years, so I wanted to thank you for your service. You thank everybody else.
You flatter me.
No one thanks you.
Will be. Oh, thank you very much. You flatter me. It's 9, unless you count the year. Unless you count the year that I was working after I was hired before I started.
Anyone else?
Steve, thank you.
No? Okay.
Thank you. I hope you have heard me say thank you for trusting us with your children. I do know that I speak for everyone here. It's great to have our students. Thank you again for joining us tonight, to our students. I think you can tell the pride. I know our team is back there, the pride that they have in our students. And it's one thing that I wanted for each and every one of you was to both understand and deeply feel the pride that we have in each and every one of our students as we see how they grow and develop. Did we do that tonight? Yeah. Other questions?
No, it's a wrap.
Thank you, Christy Salcido, our Chief Marketing Officer. And truly, thank you very much. Happy New Year to everyone. And thank you very much for trusting us with your children. Have a great evening.